Rational reasons for delayed home buying. Vilifying millennials rubs salt into wound. This is Fergus Hodgson, author of Financial Sovereignty for Canadians and director of Econ Americas, your home for financial freedom. There has been a flutter this month in the United States about the average first-time home buyer being 40 years old, up from 32 in the year 2000. This stems from a National Association of Realtors report, and the panic has been that home buyers are getting older. They are now 59 years old on average. I'm a millennial who bought his first home this year after previously investing in real estate via real estate investment trusts, REITs. That, along with my financial training, puts me in a useful position to assess this trend. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge a level of peer pressure in this domain too, since it does impact our decisions, often for the worse. While humans display irrationality in many domains, they tend to be more careful with major purchases. Prospective buyers scour publications and take their time to choose vehicles and houses, so pricing is relatively transparent and efficient. I took more than a year to settle on a property in Colorado, and I was close to dropping the idea and moving elsewhere. When a generation or two are putting off home purchases by almost a decade, there is likely a rational basis. Further, enacting policies to subsidize and encourage purchases will bring unanticipated consequences and interfere with prudent decisions. Norbert Michel and Jerome Famulato of the Cato Institute made this case clear in a compelling article. Quote, "The long-term wealth-building effect of home ownership is often less than that of renting and investing in the diversified market. Renting is almost always a better decision for short-term residency under 10 years due to the lack of closing costs or high interest payments that are only associated with buying. If market returns are high and house price appreciation and rental inflation are low, renting and investing would likely lead to higher net worth even for longer-term residencies," unquote. Ding, ding, ding. Publicly traded real estate securities offer much of the upside while eliminating many of the downsides associated with direct real estate ownership. You can also keep them to a smaller proportion of your portfolio. Econ Americas provides a community and the know-how for paths to financial freedom. Our international team has expertise in cross-border arbitrage and alternative investments. Schedule a consultation to see how we can help you. Go to econamericas.com/consult. Here are some crucial factors that came to mind when seeking to explain why the shift to older purchases has taken place in the past quarter century. That is not to say the trend is unequivocally good. Rather, people are making rational decisions given the hands they are dealt. 1. Dilution of higher education value, a bit like the inflation of currencies, has paradoxically led to more years in education, not less. Breaking into the job market now requires more credentials. The price of labor market entry has risen, and this delays working life and savings. It also drives up student debt, which now stands at almost $2 trillion US, even with all the forgiveness and concession shenanigans that have reduced this total. 2. The cost of housing has, across the Anglosphere, become more expensive relative to gross household earnings, from a typical ratio of about 3 in 1990 to about 6 now. Demographia has documented this in detail. The cost of a home relative to income has doubled in the last generation. Do not get me started about taxes. This is especially pronounced in the large urban centers with the best employment prospects. That is where new graduates gravitate and where buying outright is nigh impossible sans generational wealth. 3. Economic uncertainty makes planning more difficult. While disruptive innovation spurs economic growth, it also means young people have less certainty over their career and business paths. Illiquid and lumpy assets such as housing for personal living versus a diversified portfolio make much less sense in a rapidly evolving economy. As noted in the Cato Institute article, direct real estate investment makes the most sense in the long run and when establishing a customized household. 4. The complexity and transaction costs associated with real estate sales have continued to rise. There are endless rent seekers who have burrowed their way into the transaction process, and they have increased the costs and made the market less liquid. An 8 to 15% barrier to each exchange is ludicrous, and disruptive innovation is around the corner, likely to put many realtors and parasitic gatekeepers out of business. Further, draconian zoning across most cities has impeded the attractiveness of home buying, since rules typically prohibit short-term rentals and elevate the costs of renovations and restructuring. If home ownership is healthy, as so many people believe, we must look at the causes for its decline. That means facing up to a lack of disposable income, NIMBY zoning and regulation, and immense subsidization of useless higher education. We can also explore novel ways to bypass the rent seekers holding the gates. Lashing out at the symptoms and vilifying young people will only rub salt into the wound. Thanks for listening. Please follow Econ Americas on Substack, X, and YouTube.